All right, today we're going to dive into a novel that's, well, it's both beautiful and absolutely chilling. It's Aharon Appelfeld's Badenheim 1939. Now, this isn't a story that shouts its horror from the rooftops. No, it's much quieter than that. It kind of whispers, and you have to lean in close to really hear what's happening. And what you see is a whole community just cheerfully, calmly walking straight towards its own destruction.
So the book kicks off with this line. You can almost feel it, can't you? Spring is back. Church bells are ringing. Everything just feels normal, idyllic even. Appelfeld paints this picture that's so peaceful, so routine, you just feel like nothing could possibly go wrong. But that's the thing, right? It's that very sense of peace that makes what happens next so incredibly unsettling. It's the calm before a storm they don't even see coming.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Imagine this. We're in Badenheim. It's this lovely little Austrian resort town, the kind of place where, cultured folks gather every single year for a big arts festival. And when our story starts, the whole town is just waking up for the season. Everyone's getting ready, and the whole thing is orchestrated by this super energetic guy, an impresario named Dr. Pappenheim.
And what is life in Badenheim all about? Well, it's pretty much exactly what you see here. It's the arts festival. That's the main event. You've got all these quirky artists and musicians wandering around. People are chilling in cafes, eating pink ice cream, gossiping about guests like Professor Fuchs-Holt. It's this perfect little bubble of leisure and culture. And that's the key, right? Everyone is so completely wrapped up in their own little world, totally distracted by all the fun and familiar comforts of their vacation.
But then, things start to get a little weird. A new group shows up in town. They're this, bureaucratic group calling themselves the Sanitation Department. Sounds harmless enough, right? So these inspectors arrive, all quiet and official. And at first, nobody really bats an eye. It's just business as usual. Or so they think.
But what they're doing is, well, it's pretty strange. It's all very methodical, very precise. They're taking measurements, putting up fences, and then they start unloading barbed wire? I mean, come on, barbed wire? It's a huge, ominous change to this pretty little resort town, but it's all happening under this boring official label of sanitation business. So creepy. And this, right here, this is the absolute core of the book. It's all about denial. I mean, look at this. The people of Badenheim see reality on one side, and then they create their own interpretation on the other. Barbed wire and fences? Oh, that must just be for the big festival. These investigators poking around? Wow, they're so efficient. The gates to the town are being closed? Oh, that Dr. Pappenheim, he's always making a name for himself, planning some big surprise. It's incredible. Every single warning sign, every red flag is twisted into something positive. They are literally cheerfully rationalizing away their own imprisonment.
Okay, so the situation is definitely escalating. It's moving beyond just, changing the landscape with fences. Now it's about classifying the people themselves. The Sanitation Department drops its first direct order.
And the order is? Well, it's terrifyingly simple. A modest little announcement pops up on a notice board. It says that all citizens who are Jews have to register with the Sanitation Department. That's it. It's not a threat. There's no violence mentioned. It's just paperwork. Another bureaucratic hoop to jump through. And it's that very ordinary, boring quality that makes it so chillingly effective.
And what's the reaction? Look at this. The musician, Samitsky. He just reads it and says, "That means me." Just like that. There's no fear, no anger, no "what is this?" It's just this calm, matter-of-fact statement. It's as if he's just checking his name on a list for a party, not being officially singled out and separated from everyone else. It's wild.
And if you're wondering how everyone stays so calm, we'll look no further than Dr. Pappenheim. This quote just perfectly captures the town's collective delusion. He, the ultimate showman, spins this sinister registration into some kind of an honor. He says, oh, they just want to boast about their important guests. They're writing our names in a golden book. Isn't that just handsome of them? He gives them the perfect, most comforting lie to believe, and they absolutely eat it up. So while everyone's busy feeling honored to be in the golden book, the physical walls are literally closing in. A barrier is put up at the town entrance. The post office gets locked. That means no one comes in, no one goes out, and no news gets through. Badenheim is now completely sealed off like a little container, totally cut off from any outside information that might, shatter this fragile little world they'd built for themselves.
And now for the final, and maybe most twisted, step in this whole process. They have to rebrand the destination.
The authorities, and pretty soon the vacationers too, they all start talking about a journey to Poland. And just like that, this terrifying, unknown fate gets transformed into an exciting opportunity.
Get this. The Sanitation Department basically becomes a travel agency. They start putting up posters all over town with these slogans. The air in Poland is fresher. Sail on the Vistula. Labor is our life. I mean, they're selling Poland like it's some kind of rustic, healthy spa retreat. A place with clean air, meaningful work, amazing culture. It's pure propaganda, and it's designed to do one thing: make the prisoners excited for their own deportation.
And the craziest part? It totally works. Remember, they're completely cut off from the real world. All they have are these posters and each other's reassurances. So this remote, alien place called Poland starts to sound actually pretty good. It becomes this idyllic, pastoral fantasy that they can all hold on to.
And right here, with this quote, you can see that the cycle of self-deception is complete. The victims themselves are now selling the lie. Sam Sitsky, the same guy who just calmly said, "That means me," is now telling people, "Don't worry, we'll be going to Poland soon. Just imagine it." It's unbelievable. They haven't just accepted their fate, they've actually started to look forward to it. They've embraced it as a new, hopeful adventure.
Okay, so let's take a step back for a second and connect all these dots. What is this story really about? Because obviously, Appelfeld isn't just telling us about a weird vacation. He's created a very, very powerful allegory.
So, what's an allegory? It's basically a story where everything on the surface, the characters, the events, is actually a symbol for something else, something much bigger. And in the case of Badenheim, all these symbols are pointing directly to one of the absolute darkest moments in all of human history.
And here's where it all clicks into place. In the novel, you have the Sanitation Department, right? In history, that's the cold, efficient, methodical bureaucracy of the SS. The characters have to register as Jews. That's a direct parallel to the Nuremberg racial laws, which legally isolated and defined Jewish people. And that journey to Poland? Well, we know that's the horrifying euphemism for deportation to the death camps. But maybe the most important part of this whole allegory is the denial and rationalization. That reflects the deep psychological question of how so many people could walk towards their own destruction, clinging to any shred of hope and normalcy right up until the very end. You know, the real horror of this book doesn't come from any graphic violence. There's none of that. The terror comes from watching an entire community just rationalize its own destruction. We see them take every single step down this path: the registration, the isolation, the deportation, and at each point they convince themselves that it's okay, that it's normal, that maybe it's even for the best. An exciting new chapter.
And that brings us to the final, haunting question the book leaves you with. Because Badenheim 1939 isn't really just a story about the past. It's a timeless, universal warning. It's about how denial works, about our very human tendency to ignore danger when the truth is too scary, and to choose a comforting lie instead. And so it asks us, and it's a question for every generation, how does a society, any society, just sleepwalk its way into a catastrophe?